Hello again. This video is a continuation of the Black Orpheus video I did not too long ago on the 2/5s that are common throughout Black Orpheus. I'm going to go ahead and go through the rest of the piece or song or tune, depending on whether or not it's sung. So let me just kind of jot the chords down here. We have A minor 7 or A minor 6. I'm just going to put A minor since there's a lot of options. B minor 7 flat 5 or B half diminished. And E7 flat 9 is a nice choice. That happens again. Then we have a 2/5 in C. And when I say 2/5, I'm referring to the 2 chord in the C major scale and the 5 chord in the C major scale. Then I have a C major 7. Could also be played as a C6. And then we go to a C sharp diminished. Could also be A7 flat 9. Which brings us into the D minor 7. G7, C major 7, F major 7. And then we're back at a 2/5. You could think of, by the way, this is a 2/5-1-4. Now we're back to A minor, which of course is the relative of C, so not a very not an abrupt key change or not a drastic key change by any means. And I'm going to stop there for now because that's the first half of the tune. So let me use this as a vehicle for talking about some of these jazz chords. By the way, I will not use, what I'm going to do here is give you the notes of the chords. So if you're not a guitarist, hopefully you still can get something out of this because we're just going to be talking about only the notes that are in the chord for this video. So I already covered this first line, the A minor 2/5. So I'm going to in the previous video. So I'm going to go right ahead to the second line. By the way, if you're watching this maybe in a different section, go ahead and go to playlists in my channel, which please subscribe to if you find this useful information and want to keep getting more. It'd be great to have access to this for years, hopefully, as long as it's useful information for you. Okay, so the previous video, if you're going through the playlist, which is probably a good idea, I try to arrange them so that it would go chronologically. Let's get to the second line, starting with A minor 7. I already covered that, but I'll go ahead and do it again. Could also be A minor 6. So if it's A minor 7, we would have the notes A, C, E, G. If it's minor 6, it would be A, C, E, F sharp. Okay, so a 9 in there. 9's a nice choice, and that would be a B. Add that to either one of those. Either one of those. Of course, the 11 would be a D. But if you play these 4 notes, or even leave off the 5, or even leave off the root, you would have a nice chord, and it would suffice as far as the harmony. Okay, so going on to the next part, we have the 2/5-1. Of course, if you're soloing, C major scale works nicely. A minor scale works nicely on this, although a lot of times I will use Dorian. The difference being Dorian has an F sharp. It's all natural notes, all natural except for an F sharp. And if it's A minor, then it's all natural. Now what I'm referring to is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those will be the notes in the A minor scale. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G would be the notes in the A Dorian mode. It's actually based off the G major scale. But just know that those are the notes you could play. If you were soloing on this one, you could really do either one. And here in this section, we have C major, of course, containing the same notes as A minor. So if you're soloing, it's not super important. It is good to know that you'll be landing on a C there. because if you want to give your solo finality, then you land on a C. If you want less finality, then you might hit a note of the chord to resolve your line, or if you wanted to have some sustained tension, maybe a color tone like D or A. But I'm getting off subject here, so let's bring us back. D minor 7 has the notes D, F, A, C. G7 has the notes G, B, D, F. If you saw my blues video, you got a little tutorial on the 2-5 and how we change from, well, a lot of the notes are the same, but what we do is we change from a C and we lower the C to a B, and that is the essence of the, and then back to, so that's a really nice spot to emphasize that changes in the chord tone. So it's nice to emphasize that change in your solo. That way you'd be playing over the changes. And you don't have to play over the changes all the time in your solo. You can play it with great solo, maybe without even playing over the changes. It's a nice device that we use in jazz, and it's part of the jazz language. So D, F, A, C, G, B, D, F are the notes in the G7. Feel free, of course, to pause this video, take notes, do all that stuff, anything that helps. C major 7, C, E, G, B. C6 is another option there. C, E, G, A. And as I've mentioned before, just like any of these other chords, definitely don't feel like you have to play them in order. You can start with inversions, moving this around. That would be one place to start. But even just rearranging the order that they're played, oftentimes the root will be in the bass. But if there's a bass player, it really isn't that necessary, because that, the bass player is taking care of that for you. So you have a lot of options there, particularly putting the 1, 3, and the 5 as the bass note. Okay, moving on. C sharp diminished has the notes C sharp, E, G, B flat. Diminished is weird. You get sharps and flats in the same chord. Unlike major and minor chords and dominant 7s. A7 flat 9, A, C sharp, E, and G. If you've made it this far into the videos, then first of all, congratulations. If I gave out medals, I would give out one. But if you made it this far, you probably heard me talk about how you can substitute diminished for a 7 flat 9 chord, and vice versa. So notice they have pretty much the same notes, particularly if we add the flat 9, then we're adding the B flat, so then they share those too. So really an A7 flat 9 chord is a C sharp diminished, or it could be E diminished, or B diminished, or B flat diminished, because all those notes, 4 notes, any one of them could be the root of a diminished chord. They share, all 4 of those chords share the same notes. In other words, an E diminished has the notes E, G, B flat, C sharp, or actually D flat. But D flat's what we call it, same note. So basically when we play A7 flat 9, we're playing a C sharp diminished chord with an A. A is actually part of the C diminished scale, the whole half diminished scale. So really that's why these just fit over each other great, and they can be used interchangeably, which is a nice trick to give you more options. And for the most part, more options can be a good thing, especially in jazz when we're creating on the spot. What you would want to do in that case is just really take the time to practice it, to really take your instrument, find out all the spots where you can use that, look at the tunes you play, see the spots where you can use that, and just really try to get it to where it's natural in your playing. You don't want to be performing and try to figure out theory while you're performing. It's like doing a video and racing. You don't want to do that. So the idea is you ingrain it, so you really get the sound in your ear, so that way you can really choose on the spot where you want to put it in. So again, I digress. D minor 7, though, we've covered that. I'm going to go ahead and write it down anyway. Only take a second. D, F, A, C. It's the 2 chord in this case of the C major scale here. As you know, it's 2, 5, 1, 4. All of this you can play C major over. It's nice to hit chord tones as they come up. In other words, to play chord tones as the rhythm section is playing the chords, play the chord tones in your solo. G7, G, B, D, F. It's like a D with a cape. G, B, D, F. Then we have C. We've already covered these. I'm doing this just because I'm feeling generous. You could do a C6, C6, 9. Any of those would be fine. F major 7 has the notes F, A, C, E. Since it's functioning as a 4 chord, you can throw in the sharp 11. Well, you could do that regardless, but it's a really nice choice here because it fits the key signature, and that sharp 11 would be a B. So something like would be just one of the many things you could do, or maybe keep the A, or keep the G, excuse me. So enough of that. B half diminished, like we covered before, but again, I'm doing it again. Do it again. B, D, F, A. When we go to our E7 flat 9, we have E, G sharp, B, D. Our flat 9's F. Just like this substitution, you can do it. Now we're doing it in reverse. So instead of doing E7 flat 9, you could use any of these as a diminished chord to substitute. Really nice in your soloing too. Django Reinhardt was big on this. Al Di Meola likes diminished a lot too. So G sharp diminished, B diminished, D diminished, F diminished. Really nice on the guitar, so we have that. I don't know if you want to resolve it on an A minor up high. That'd be a fun thing to do. By the way, A minor is your next chord. Go ahead and give it to you again. A, C, E, G, or F sharp if you do A minor 6. Okay, so that gives us the first half of Black Orpheus. Naming the chords. Now we're going to go on to the second half. Fortunately, the second half has a lot of the same chords, so this is going to go by pretty quickly. In fact, yeah, I'll go ahead. Actually starts with those. I'm not going to go over those because I just did. So here's the big deal with the second half is the E minor 7 flat 5, A7 flat 9, D minor. That's the big change because now we're doing a 2-5-1 in D minor. And that's a really important spot in the song to bring out the chord change. In these two chords, we have a B flat, which we did not have in the first section of the tune. None of those chords in the first section of the tune had a B flat. You might have substituted a B flat 7 maybe or maybe a B flat 13 would have been nice to substitute for the E7 as a flat 5 tritone sub. And that would have been nice, but as far as what's written and what's commonly played, our kind of default chords, we didn't have a B flat in any of those chords. So what we're going to do here is really emphasize that in our solo, but also make sure you have that B flat present in your chords. So E, G, B flat, and D are the notes of our E minor 7 flat 5 or E half diminished. A, C sharp, blanking for a second here, E, G, and a flat 9 of B flat, give us an A7 flat 9. Again, any of these could be diminished. build your diminished scale off any of those, diminished chords. One example, if you're feeling particularly lazy, but no, it's nice to kind of do this because sometimes there's so much movement that it's nice to have some contrast. So here's our E half diminished chord. What you could do is just change one note, lower the D to a C sharp, and now we have E diminished, which is basically an A. It functions as an A7 flat 9. Sure, we're not playing the A, but we probably have a bass player do that, or maybe we'll just not play the A. That's okay. Nice thing about modern jazz, you don't have to play everything that's written down. You just have to get the essence of the movement. In fact, that's really what you want to do, and that's where creativity can really shine. Okay. Oh, I gotta give us a D minor chord here. So I put D minor and not D minor 7 because it could be D minor 6, could be D minor 9, of course, which would contain D minor 7. But I'm going to start with D minor 7. Kind of a default. D, F, A, and C. So you can think that would, Dorian's a nice choice there, but you could continue with a B flat and play a D minor scale. D minor scale would be D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D. In D Dorian, well, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. It's based off the C major scale, so it's all the natural notes. Another nice choice is D harmonic minor, which you could actually use throughout this. Always nice when we don't have to change a lot, because then you can really let yourself go to the music. D harmonic minor, that's a D minor scale with a raised 7. That would have the notes D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C sharp, D. C sharp is the note that's raised. You could actually play a D minor major 7, which would be D, F, A, C sharp. You probably wouldn't want to hang on that the whole time, but if you're hearing it and if people latch onto it, maybe you would play it the whole time. Especially if you hear like a soloist doing that. And that's why when I say get things in your ear, it really allows you to have that conversation. That's really all I think I need to do. There are some nice walk downs that occur. You'll see in the next line, actually, it starts off with D minor. I think it's D minor 7. And then D minor, keep writing B's instead of D's. Then D minor slash C. All that means is a D minor chord with a C in the bass. C is the lowest note of the chord. Wow. Okay, so one way to do that, or that's another voicing here. Kind of a nice higher voicing of the chord, and then we go. Sorry. So what I'm doing there is I'm subbing the flat 5. You could, that's same difference. A minor 7 with a G in the bass. I'm just doing an F major 7. I'm adding the B because it's in the key signature. Back to them. Okay, so I'm going to stop there, especially as my guitar seems to be out of tune. I hope that was helpful. If it was, please do subscribe. Please leave any comments below, any other videos you'd like me to do. I'll be happy to do those. Hope this is helpful.